Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to my stream. Welcome to another chapter. Another chapter working on that guy right there. That is our F-35A Lightning II by Tamiya. 1/48 scale model kit. Gonna run the intro. See what's next. Okay guys, we're back. And we are going to continue on our build. Today, however, we're not going to be doing a lot of building, not really assembling much. I want to focus on painting the fuselage today, and so that's what we're going to do. I've already been getting prepared a little bit. I'm not fully prepared yet. I do have my air compressor fired up, so she's ready to go. But I put on a few panels on here. Let's change the camera and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so I have our great big weapons bay panels that are not going to be used. So those are going to be a perfect mask. I have those tacked on with some blue tack. I've also got my little landing gear bay doors there. Obviously, I have not done this yet. We still need to do that. I have our little ladder bay door that's going to be there. Okay, so we've got these things done. Obviously, we got a big issue here with our canopy or our cockpit. I don't want to spray paint our cockpit. So we're working on some stuff. I've got my canopies masked off because these are going to need some love around there, right? So of course we have two, so I've got both masked off. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. We have some other panels. Like I want to kind of do this all as a bulk painting thing. I want to get all my panels, all my bay doors, all of those, get the base color done on them, at least as much as I can until we get some assembly done. Because there are a few of these bay doors and stuff like that where you have two pieces going together, but you're going to have like an outline of the same color as the outside is outlining the inside, and then you've got the white part, excuse me, the white part on the middle of it. So I do actually have to paint both sides of them on a few of those panels. The other thing I want to do is I want to take one of my canopies and I'm going to use my canopy as a mask over the cockpit. I'm choosing this one. Although these come on two different sprues, it appears they are both identical. I don't see any difference in these two canopies at all. They look identical to me. So, although if I look in the instructions, if I go all the way to the part where we're putting the canopies on, they're both H1. It just appears we've got this extra piece here on our G3, our G2, that's going to be if you're going to have the canopy open. But the actual glass, you're using H1, they're both the same, doesn't matter. But the nice thing is you can use these two different things and you can have it displayed open or closed at your leisure. So I like that. I like that a lot. I like it a lot. Yeah. So I'm going to put this one aside here just for now. Get it out of my way. Just so that I don't knock it or anything like that. And she's going to go on the correct way. And she's going to sit down like this. So now, how do I keep the canopy on there without, without tape? Well, again, the blue tack. That's this stuff. If you guys don't know what blue tack is, it's this stuff here. Blue tack, okay? I got this one on Amazon, and it comes in these little strips like that, and I use it very sparingly. I don't, basically, because this costs a lot more money than masking tape, if I can use masking tape, I'll use that instead. So I use this stuff very sparingly. This is the first one I've opened out of all this. I don't know how many you get in here. You get like 4 strips of this stuff, I think. It's all kind of stuck. It's tacked itself in there. Yeah, so you get 4 of these little strips. And so you get 4 of these, and you can see how much I've used. And I've had this for like, I don't know, 4 years. That's how much I really sparingly use this stuff. It's good stuff though. I do like it. It is kind of one-time use. Like I've noticed once you've stuck it, it doesn't really stick again to anything else. So I need to put a piece on there that's going to be tall enough to fit to touch that. So I'll get kind of a big little square coming out there. Just use a knife to trim that off. Pull that out. Okay. Put this aside. Let's change the camera. Get a little better, but look at what I'm doing here. Okay. So here's my little square that I just cut off. And we're going to put that, we're going to see how this does right here. The nice thing about this is you can squish it down and it'll just conform and stay. Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of resistance, which is good and it's bad. But the nice thing is, once you get it to conform, it doesn't, unlike tape you squish and then it kind of goes back to itself if you've got, you know, like looped it around on itself. So there we go. And so we've got that tacked on there. Now if I tip this upside down, yeah, it kind of wants to open up at the top there, but it's not bad. I could probably benefit from putting another little blob at the back here. Maybe I'll do that. I don't want this thing, you know, and when I'm painting and it's upside down, I don't want it that, I mean, the chances are that it goes in, but I don't want to accidentally maybe get some overspray in there or something like that because it's opened up. So let's just pull this off. See, now it's stuck there, so that's good. But I might actually have to put another piece down here now that I've pulled that out. Let's see here. Let's get another piece and I'll put a little strip at the back here. Get two little nubs here that I'll use. Pull this off. And I'll just cut this, and put that here. And this one can go on this side back here. And just to make sure this one does stay, let's cut another strip off here and put you right there. And we'll put her back down. There we go. I'm not sure. I really don't know how much contact I have back there. You can see it through there, but that's okay. And did my job. It did its job. It's holding. See? It's holding. There we go. Okay. So canopy's done. Now, this whole section on the front landing gear bay, I don't think, to me, it gives us a one-piece landing gear piece here to cover that. I don't think so. I got to flip back to my book and I got to see. When we're doing landing gear stuff here, here's our front one. When we're doing the pod, getting that assembled, and all that in there, and our intakes all done. And then our bottom of our fuselage, which we already did all this. Our weapons, or our weapons bay, this is all done. Nothing to do with landing gear here. More weapons bay, the engines, getting all that in. Putting our fuselage together. We did that last time. We also put our little side panels in our engine bays. Those are in here. Step 17 and 18. We've assembled our engine nozzle. That's sitting here like this. That's all done. And we did our landing gear. Oh yes, landing gear. So this landing gear is finished. I painted our tires and I put our landing gear on, put our tire on. So I actually need to do that with this one. So that's the last step I need to do with this one. As you can tell, this is not a perfect square. This is like, you know, I don't know what you call that shape, but it's not square. It's not rectangle. It's skinnier on one end. So that forces you to put your tire on in a proper direction. So do that. Get some extra thin here. I'll just take care of this and get this done while we're working on that other thing, and then this will be glued in and complete. Alrighty. So there's our other main landing gear wheel. She's all done. She's assembled. Just like that. Okay, there you go. Finished. Reduced my desk clutter by 1. Okay, moving on. Landing gear bay doors for the main gear. So I've just taken number A17 and 18 and I've blue tacked them down there and there. I haven't done the assembly, so we're going to do that later. I tack them down. Here we go. Now we're working with our front landing gear. And we should have some bay doors. Looks like these guys here. Yeah, landing gear nose landing gear covers. That's these. So I'm going to need E14 and E13 because they've got that. You want to paint it on the inside here, but around the strip, around the tip of it, they want that color. So, and then of course this part goes on the inside of it. So here's what that's what I was talking about earlier. So we've got to deal with that E14 and 13. Let's find those. Gotta find my E tree. It's F. This E. This is E right here. Okay. Okie dokie, Smoky. All right, so we needed 13 and 14. That's these two guys right here. I could, I want to use them as masking, right? Put them on there, and then I don't have to worry about masking that whole piece off. And that's the reason why I'm doing this. Okay, that's why I'm doing this at all. So let's clean these up. And you might be asking, well, if you're supposed to paint this little edge, how are you going to do that if you're using these as a masking template to go down on here? Well, my friend, see, that's that one. I can always just use a brush and touch up this edge later on with the fuselage color like it's supposed to be. Now, this one might be a challenge because it's got a little doohickey there. And so I don't know if that's going to interfere with this laying down. This goes on this side. Actually, I think what it's going to do, it's going to help me put this one down on top of it. Maybe. Or it could help, it could make it interfere. Let me see. So these are supposed to go like this. But because this is it's interfering with their fit. It's interfering with their fitment. Causes it to have a bit of a gap like that, sitting up like this. So what I can do though is I can tape them together. I can get a little piece of tape and run it between them. Close up that hole. So I can get these as close to what they're supposed to be. This. Okay. Well, they're not perfect, but definitely not perfect. Let's try this again. Get off there. This guy back. This. And this guy. It makes it tough with it wanting to push it away. Now I can put a piece of blue tack on top of my landing gear strut there, and that will hold these guys down, even if they aren't perfect. that will do that. Okay. I actually do not like the way these mount at all. They just don't look right. They don't sit flush like all these other things. These don't sit flush at all. And then, of course, we have this piece here. This piece is clear. And that's this guy right here. And he's got to go in. I'm not ready to install this guy just yet either. There's a part that goes down underneath there, and that might actually be something I should do now. I can put a piece of blue tack on this guy. So this guy actually goes underneath our bay doors, and he sits like this. And then these guys sit down over top of him. That. Now on the surface, that looks like a really good fit. But it's really not that great. It looks okay. And with that the way it is, I might actually be able to get away with just putting some blue tack down under here, and that would hold him. He kind of holds pretty good anyway. I could put some blue tack there, boom, and then with it going boom, it might work. Let's cut a little piece off of here. I'm actually going to go 2 pieces. One to just stick in here, like so. And this guy can go down. Squeeze. There we go. Okay. He's tacked in. And then that's also going to act as a good tack for the front, especially if I just move this up a little bit. The front can squeeze down onto that, but can also put a piece back here, like I mentioned before, on our gear here. And let's see if we can get these off. Seems to be in their spot. That might be okay like that. Just might be okay like that. Let's flip this over. Yeah, maybe as long as I'm careful with my brush. I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself to not spray underneath there. But at the same time, that might be okay. If the other side of this gets a little bit of overspray, that's okay. That's okay. I think it's okay. So the other thing we're going to have to focus on is other pieces like this guy here. He's going to go there and go on there, but he's just going to be painted white, so I don't have to worry about that. That's a little redundant. We've got F-37 needs to be painted the same as the fuselage, and F-36. And what else? I think, no, this guy's just going to be white. What is F-16? Where does F-16 even go? Oh, they go here. So they're going to be fuselage color, but that's going to be well, we have F-16 and 15. We got 2? Oh, there is 2. Okay. F-15 and 16 are going to be fuselage color, and so with 14 and 17. Let's find my infantry. Well, then we've got our flaps. Flaps need to be painted. All of our E-tree stuff. So I got lots of things. So now I have to refer to one of my color sheets for the actual fuselage color. So let's look at that. I know that I have the fuselage color already pre-mixed, and we're doing this color here, but I want to call it out again. It's going to be LP 15 and 59, 5 parts 15 to 1 part 59, which is the IGN gray, the Yokosuka, and NATO brown. Okay, 15 and 59 I have pre-mixed in there. So here is my E tree, which I need to paint all these little white things. These all need to be painted. And then we've got our parts on the F tree also that need to be painted. I think that's about it. Okay, so let's just get these. Change the scene. Now, like I mentioned, I already have my airbrush already fired up. So I need to give this a good shake, even though it's already, you know, it's been shaken and it's mixed and stuff like that. But it still needs to be done properly. In the past, you guys have seen me use my 0.5 airbrush and do big sweeping, you know, paint sweeps and stuff like that. But for this little guy, I don't think I need to go that drastic on it. So I'm just going to use my regular one, which is, I believe it's a 0.3 nozzle needle combo in this one. If you guys are interested, it is the GSI Krios PS 266. That's the one I use most of my stuff. I do have this one also. This is definitely a 0.2 nozzle. This is the this is a 0.018. This is the PS 771. It's got a 0.18 nozzle, which I almost never use because I almost never do stuff that fine. Right? Okay. There's our color all mixed up. It basically just looks like, because it's only got 1 part of NATO brown in it, it basically just looks great. But I guess it does have that little hint of NATO brown in it, so you do have a custom color for your F-35. And of course, probably not going to use it ever again unless I decide to build an F-35B or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. You know, when I first tackled this, when I first was thinking about building this particular plane, I was thinking to myself, I'm not a big, super huge fan of these F-35s. F-22, yeah, definitely. And yes, these are modeled very similarly to that, but it's just not, right? They're so much thicker in the middle cross section, and they're not as stealthy and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm going on rambling. Let's get this thing painted, okay? I'll switch the camera. You can follow along and watch me paint this. Let's start with the underside of our fuselage. Start with this. Okay, we're going to let this dry for a minute, and we'll move on to the other bits. So we got to do these two and these two. All right. I believe the inside of this is a separate color. All right, put this aside. Got all of our little bits here. Well, with their tail fins, I'm actually going to wait because they have to be assembled, and I'd rather paint them as one thing. I'll do my tail fins later on. What I need to do is the edges of their flaps. Okay, I want to do one more coat on these. All right, this aside. One more coat on these. You know, they look good, but they're not going to match. So all right. Back to our fuselage. I'm almost out of paint, so I need to fill some up here. So that's pretty much it. We now have a dark gray plane once again. And we're going to set this down. We're going to let this dry. I still have to paint the other canopy. This guy here, I'll just give this guy a couple of coats real quick here. That's one coat. We'll let that dry. I'm going to double check a couple of my other pieces just to make sure I've got uniformity. These are all dry now, of course, because to me a paint dries really quick. I don't think there's any other pieces that I need to actually spray the fuselage color. I think I can get away with just brush painting any kind of little details that might need to be done, except of course for the tail fins. But I'm going to do those later when I'm getting more prepared to get them actually installed, and I have to put the two halves of each one together. I want to paint them while they're together. I don't want to paint them as four separate pieces, and that's why I'm doing that. Okay, so that's that. That's why I'm doing that, and now you know why I'm doing that. And of course, you need two coats. Otherwise, you're going to be able to see through it a little bit, and you don't want that. Okay, so this is where I'm going to end it for today, guys. It's just a simple, very simple painting episode, and that's all there is to it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you. I'm going to clean up my airbrush. Thank you for all the support, and we'll see you all in the next one.